Hey there! You know that feeling when you're just completely overwhelmed? Career stuff, never-ending to-do lists, that constant pressure to have a 5-year plan all mapped out? It's so easy to feel lost in it all. Well, today, we're going to dive into a really simple story. It's about a master, his apprentice, and a journey down a foggy path that, honestly, holds a pretty powerful lesson for all of us trying to figure out our own futures. So let's jump right in. But first, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like there's this little voice, an anxious voice, living inside your head? It's the one that's constantly playing out those what-if scenarios. Like you're trying to focus on just one thing, but your mind is already miles down the road, worrying about all these problems that haven't even happened yet. If that sounds familiar, well, you'll definitely recognize the guy at the center of our story. All right, so our story kicks off in this kind of rundown monastery, and it introduces us to two key characters. And really, they represent two totally different ways of moving through the world. One is all about the here and now, and the other, well, he's completely lost in the future. So on one hand, you've got the master. His name literally translates to no rush, which is perfect. Just picture this guy. He's the definition of calm. Slow, deliberate, totally happy just sitting in the sun enjoying some watermelon. But then you have his apprentice, a Huang, and his name means, you guessed it, anxious. His mind is just a whirlwind of worries, always racing ahead to a future that he has absolutely no control over. So what exactly is cluttering up A Huang's head? I mean, look at this list. He's supposed to be practicing with his sword, right? His task is simple, pierce a falling leaf. But he just can't do it. And why not? Because his mind is everywhere but here. He's worrying about some demon sect thousands of miles away, about whether he'll ever be famous, if he'll find a wife, if he can take care of his master, literally anything except a single leaf falling right in front of his face. And the master, of course, sees this and just nails it. He tells him, your mind is so full of what-ifs that haven't happened, no wonder you can't even hit a few leaves. He sees that Ah Huang's mind is just too jam-packed with the future to do anything in the present. So he suggests a little field trip. Forget the sword for today, he says. We're going down the mountain to buy some grain. And this, right here, is where the real lesson kicks in. This isn't just a simple trip to the market. It's about to become a real-world test, a pop quiz for Ah Huang's anxious brain. The journey itself, that's the lesson. So as they start heading down the mountain, they hit a snag. The path is narrow, it's slippery from the rain, and it's completely swallowed by this thick, heavy fog. I mean, you can't see a thing. The path just vanishes. And for someone like Ah Huang, this is basically his worst nightmare. His what-if machine just goes into overdrive. What if we fall off a cliff? What if there's a tiger in there? And right in the middle of Ah Huang's panic, the master drops the single most important piece of advice in this entire story. It's so simple, but so profound. He says, don't worry about the misty road ahead, just observe the clear ground beneath your feet. Notice, he doesn't say don't be scared. He just gives him a new place to put his focus. The original phrase basically means, observe the clear ground under your feet. And the idea here is so powerful. Stop trying to figure out the whole foggy path at once. You can't. Instead, just solve the problem of your very next step. That's it. Find one single solid place to put your foot. That's all you have to do. So this breaks down into a really simple, repeatable method. Step 1. Stop staring into the fog. That's the future, right? The unknown. Just stop. Step 2. Look down. Bring your attention right back to where you are, right now. 3. Find one solid, clean spot. And 4. Take one stable step. And then, you just do it again. And again. And this is the turning point. A Huang actually listens. He stops looking at the fog and starts looking at the ground. And as soon as he shifts his focus, something really profound starts to happen. Because he's forced to look down, his whole world changes. The path isn't scary anymore. It's interesting. He starts noticing all these little details he would have missed. A tiny purple flower growing in a crack in the rock. A tadpole swimming around in a puddle. A tree root that looks kind of like a roast goose. His fear just evaporates and is replaced by curiosity. The what-is of right now becomes way more powerful than the what-ifs of the future. So by the time they get to the market, A Huang is just stunned. The journey felt easy. It felt short, and the master explains why. See, before, A Huang was walking with his mind. He was lost in all his worries, which made his body feel heavy and the trip feel like it took forever. But today, he walked with his feet. He was just focused on one step at a time, and the whole journey felt light and effortless. Okay, so this is the real test. Did the lesson actually stick?
Because, it's one thing to understand a concept, it's a whole other thing to be able to use it yourself. And an even bigger deal to be able to teach it to someone else.
So while they're in the market, they run into this painter. And this guy is basically a mirror image of a Hong from earlier that day. He's completely frozen, just staring at his canvas, totally paralyzed by the what-ifs. What if the judges hate my painting? What if I don't win? What's my wife gonna say? All of that. And this is great. A Hong sees himself in this painter, and in this perfect role reversal, he passes on the master's wisdom. He tells him, hey, forget about the judges, forget about your wife. What does your brush want to paint right now? He's basically telling him to focus on the next step, the next brush stroke. And boom, just like that, the painter gets it. He has his breakthrough. All right, so they get back to the temple, and Ah Wong picks up his sword. But something's different this time. His goal has changed. He's not thinking about becoming some legendary swordsman who can pierce 3 leaves in one go. Nope, his ambition is now much, much smaller. His entire world just shrinks down to this one single moment. A leaf breaks off a branch and starts to fall, and he's just there. He's noticing how it spins, he feels the wind, he feels the weight of the sword in his hand. He is 100% present. He takes a breath, and he swings. One thought, one target, one leaf. And the leaf is split perfectly, right down the middle. By letting go of all those huge future-based goals and just focusing on the smallest possible thing he could do right now, he finally achieved the kind of mastery that he'd been chasing for years. So that's the big breakthrough, right? It's not really about swords or foggy paths. The whole story is really just a powerful metaphor for how we can deal with our own foggy, uncertain lives. And this is really the ultimate lesson here, for him and for us. The fog of the future is always going to be there. You can't just wave a magic wand and make it go away. You can't plan away all the uncertainty. But what you can always see, what is always clear, is the ground right where you're standing. That's where the real power is. Not in trying to control the future, but in mastering the step you're taking right now.
In the end, Ah Huang doesn't become some legendary warrior. He just becomes a happy person. And when people would come to him, all stressed out about their futures, he'd ask them this one simple grounding question. And it's the same question I want to leave you with today. So, what are you having for dinner tonight? I know it sounds a little silly, but it takes this giant philosophical idea and pulls it right down to earth. Maybe the best antidote we have for all that anxiety about the future is to just focus on the very next simple, real thing in front of us.